In 1972, a Senate investigator named Sam Dash spent hundreds of hours interviewing Watergate witnesses face to face. He was trained, he was sharp, and he still missed the tells until he started watching below the chin. The moment witnesses sat down in that chair, their bodies were already confessing. Their faces stayed calm, their words stayed rehearsed, but from the shoulders down, pure betrayal. Nobody connected the dots publicly until Joe Navarro, a 25-year FBI counterintelligence veteran, broke it all down decades later. Here's what's wild. The same three signals those Watergate witnesses displayed, the ones trained interrogators almost missed, are happening around you right now, at job interviews, at dinner tables, in your relationships. The moment a liar sits down, their body gives away exactly three things. Most people are staring at the face, completely missing it. By the end of this video, you will never miss it again. Stay with me, because signal number 2 is the one that will genuinely shock you. Before we get into the three signals, let's be clear about who this actually matters to. If you have ever walked away from a conversation and thought, something felt off, but I can't explain what, this is for you. If someone has ever looked you dead in the eyes and lied so smoothly you believed them in the moment and only found out later, this is for you. If you manage people, date people, negotiate with people, or simply want to stop being the person in the room who gets played, this is absolutely for you. Because here is the brutal truth. Most people are completely defenseless against a confident liar. Why? Because we are wired to watch the face. We watch for the smile that doesn't reach the eyes. We look for the nervous blink, and meanwhile, the liar knows this. A practiced deceiver will lock their face down tight. They will maintain eye contact. They will smile on cue, but they cannot, and this is critical, they cannot fully control what happens the moment they sit down. The body below the neck operates on a separate track, a primal track. And that track tells the truth, even when the mouth is lying. Signal number 1. Watch what happens to their feet the moment they sit down. Here is what the science says. When the human brain feels threatened, trapped, or dishonest, it triggers a primal freeze or flee response. And the first body part to respond, before the hands, before the face, is the feet. A person telling the truth typically settles into a chair with relaxed, stable foot placement. Feet flat, body at ease. A liar does something distinctly different. The moment they sit, one or both feet will either lock flat to the floor with rigid tension, what Navarro calls a freeze response, or they will immediately start moving. Ankle crossing with the feet tucked back under the chair. Feet rotating inward, one foot pointing toward the exit. Here is the pattern interrupt. This is not about nervous energy in general. Plenty of honest people fidget. What you are watching for is the timing. The change that happens specifically when a sensitive question lands. Watch the feet go still or suddenly shift the moment you ask something they did not expect. That micro-transition, that's your signal. The feet don't lie because the liar forgot to rehearse them. Signal number 2. And this is the one most people, including trained professionals, overlook entirely. Watch the torso the moment after they sit down, not when they are talking, not when they are answering. The moment they make first contact with the seat. Here is what happens neurologically. The limbic brain, the part of your brain that has not changed in 200,000 years, registers discomfort as a physical threat, and when it does, it triggers a withdrawal response. The torso pulls back, the shoulders roll slightly inward, the chest compresses almost imperceptibly, but here is where it gets specific. A liar sitting down in a high-stakes situation will often do what researchers call a false lean. They will consciously lean forward, appearing engaged, open, even confident. But if you watch the lower torso and the hip position, the hips stay back. The base of the spine stays retracted. The body is literally split in two directions, the top half performing openness, the bottom half retreating. You will see this at negotiation tables. You will see this across from you on a first date when something does not add up. The upper body says yes. The lower body says, I need to get out of here. That split, that is the tell. Signal number 3. And if you have ever been lied to and felt helpless, this one will give you your power back. Watch where the hands go when they sit down. Here is the baseline you need to understand first. When a person is comfortable and honest, their hands tend to stay visible. On the table, on the armrests, open. This is evolutionary. Showing the hands is a universal trust signal across every human culture. It says, I am not hiding a weapon, I am not a threat. Liars reverse this automatically. The moment the deceptive person sits down and the conversation turns real, the hands disappear. Under the table, into the lap below the edge, tucked between the knees. And here is the critical nuance. It does not happen at the beginning of the conversation. It happens reactively. A specific question lands and, within 1.2 seconds, according to behavioral timing research, the hands pull back or drop below the visible plane. You ask something that costs them. The hands vanish. And when hands vanish, something else happens simultaneously. The face locks up and becomes more controlled, more rehearsed, more deliberate, because the brain just went into full management mode. It is suppressing the truth. And the only thing it forgot to manage was the moment of transition. So why does almost everyone miss these three signals even after hearing about them? Because of where we are trained to look. From childhood, you were told to look someone in the eye. Eye contact means honesty. Breaking eye contact means guilt. That belief is so deeply embedded that most people cannot override it in real time, even when they know it is incomplete. A skilled liar exploits exactly this. They give you strong eye contact, they give you a steady voice, they give you a relaxed face, and you unconsciously signal back, I believe you. Meanwhile, their feet are anchored with tension, their torso is split, and their hands just slid under the table. You felt something was wrong. You just did not know where to look. The second reason people fall for it is baseline blindness. You cannot spot a deviation if you do not know what someone's normal looks like. That is why these signals are most powerful when you have watched someone for at least 90 seconds before the high-stakes moment arrives. Establish the baseline. Watch how they naturally sit, how they normally hold their hands, where their feet typically rest. Then, when the deviation happens, and it will, now that you know the three signals, here is how you actually use this without becoming paranoid or accusatory. Step 1. Always establish a baseline first. Before any important conversation, watch the person settle into their seat when the topic is neutral. Note the foot position. Note hand placement. Note torso angle. That is your control state. Step 2. Introduce the sensitive topic and watch for the transition, not the sustained behavior, the moment of change. Change within 1 to 2 seconds of your question landing is your signal. Step 3. Do not react. Do not tip your hand. Ask a follow-up question from a different angle and watch for cluster confirmation. 1 signal is a data point. 2 signals together are a pattern. 3 signals simultaneously are almost never accidental. Now, if you want to go deeper than the sitting position and learn the complete system that FBI agents actually use to read deception from head to toe, there is one book I recommend above everything else. It is called What Everybody is Saying by Joe Navarro, the same former FBI counterintelligence agent whose work I referenced earlier. Navarro spent 25 years inside interrogation rooms watching exactly what we talked about today, and then he wrote the manual. It is on Amazon, it is under $15, and it is the single most practical resource I have found for understanding deception signals beyond the face. I will put the link in the description. Read Chapter 4 first. That is where the seated body language breakdown lives. Now let us close the loop on something. Remember where we started? 1972, a Senate hearing room, investigators trained to spot deception, nearly missing what was happening below the neck the entire time. The Watergate witnesses sat in that chair and their bodies told the truth before a single word was spoken. Now you know what those investigators almost missed. The feet that freeze or flee. The torso that splits, performing openness while the hips retreat. The hands that vanish the moment a dangerous question lands. These are not theories. These are documented behavioral patterns backed by decades of law enforcement application